On Tuesday, the 6th of June 1944, Allied forces launched the largest amphibious invasion in history of warfare, D-Day. Codenamed Operation Overlord, the Allied landings along the 50-mile stretch of beaches of Normandy marked the start of the long and costly campaign of men and materials to liberate northwest Europe from the Axis occupation. Now here we are on Utah Beach, which is the most western of all the beaches taken on the 6th of June on D-Day, and it was taken here by the US 4th Infantry Division with very few casualties, unlike Omaha Beach. The main reason for the landing at Utah Beach was so the 4th Infantry could meet up with the paratroopers near St. Mary Église and then move over and capture the deep water port of Cherbourg. The Utah Beach landing area was approximately 5 kilometers or 3 miles wide. It was split into 3 sections: Tear Green, Uncle Red and Victor. The landing plan went wrong from the beginning. Strong currents beset the landing craft. The area was obstructed by smoke from the preceding shore bombardment, but the main problem was the loss of 3 of the 4 designated control crafts to mines. The force landed 1,800 meters or 2,000 yards east of the designated landing area into the less defended Victor sector and almost astride of Causeway number 2. Because the resistance was light here, the American units were able to move inland after some fighting. Of the 23,000 men of the 4th Infantry Division that landed here on Utah Beach on D-Day, there was only 197 casualties. Within a couple of hours of landing, the units of the 4th Infantry Division were able to link up with the men of the 101st Airborne Division at Causeway 1. Despite a heart condition and arthritis that forced him to use a cane, Brigadier General Theodore Roosevelt Jr. led the assault on Utah Beach. In February 1944, Roosevelt was assigned to England to help lead the Normandy invasion and was appointed Deputy Divisional Commander for the 4th Infantry Division. He was the eldest son of President Theodore Roosevelt and First Lady Edith Roosevelt. Roosevelt was the only general on D-Day to land by sea with the first wave of troops. At 56, he was the oldest man in the invasion. When Roosevelt had realized they had landed at the wrong beach, he famously said these words, which were immortalized by the film The Longest Day.
We're starting the war from right here. Head inland, we're going inland. Okay, let's go!
At Utah Beach, there is actually a monument to the Higgins boat. On the 6th of June, a majority of Allied troops initially arrived on the Normandy beaches, landing in one of 2 crafts: the British Landing Craft Assault, or the LCA, or the American Landing Craft Vehicle Personnel, or the LCVP. In fact, some 1,089 LCVPs took part in D-Day. Developed by Andrew Jackson Higgins in 1941, the LCVP was built by the Higgins Industries in New Orleans. The Higgins boat carried up to 36 troops and was capable of up to 12 knots and could be outfitted with a pair of Browning M1919 machine guns. The boats were crewed by 4 personnel. By the time the Normandy landings, the LCVPs have been used in every theatre of operation, including Operation Torch in North Africa, landings in Italy and southern France. It was also used in the Pacific Theatre. Just back from Utah Beach, we found this bunker in the area where the airborne troops had landed the night before. After periods of intense fighting, the paratroopers secured the causeway across the flooded lowlands, providing a route for the troops on the beach to move further inland. By the end of the day, the 4th Infantry Division had advanced approximately 4 miles at the cost of this 197 men from the 23,000 troops that had landed. The troops were docked in Plymouth, England for several weeks before setting sail for Normandy. This is the Long-Sommer gun battery. The battery was sited on a 60-metre, 200 feet cliff overlooking the sea and formed part of the Germans' Atlantic Wall. This is the rangefinder observation post for the battery, and you can see it's got quite a lot of damage on the front and was a major target for the gunships out at sea to try and knock it out. Now, there was a big bombing campaign a couple of days before the actual invasion, and they did manage to knock out the communications from telephone from here to the guns, so they had to revert to flag signals. You can't see a thing today, it's completely foggy, so they wouldn't have had much of a chance with flags today. This is also a filming location for The Longest Day, and they actually filmed inside there where you see the German officer say right at the very beginning, "Invasion," as he looks out from the slit down here at the bottom.
Invasion. Sie kommen.
Now, this is in the top of the observation post, and it absolutely amazes me that there are just 4 little metal posts holding the roof up. Now let's have a look inside the observation post, and as you can see, the first thing we come to is a machine gun post. So they could have had an MG42 in there pointed out covering the steps. Then you see we've got a big steel frame for a big blast door. Another blast door into the main room. So this was probably full of equipment and radios and the signal equipment for the guns. Now this possibly could be sleeping accommodation or just a storeroom. And let's go into the observation post where the film was actually filmed in. So this is a slot what the German officer was looking out through on The Longest Day. Now if we look through the slit now, there's not a lot we see because all these bushes have grown in front of the observation post, so you can't actually see out to sea. You can't do today anyway because it's too foggy. So back out of the observation room, back down these steps into the ops room, and you can see the machine gun post again, out through the blast doors, and then back out to outside. So that's what it looks like in the observation post. Now this is called a Trabuc, which is basically a mortar pit. So down here we've got a platform for the mortar, so the team would be standing on the bottom. So I'm now sat down on the floor where the Germans would be stood, and as you can see here we've got spaces for all the ammunition. You see a little bit of wood still left there, so I guess these would have been all decked out with wood so the ammunition wouldn't go off if it banged against the concrete wall. And there's the top of the Trabuc, so you could see they could point the mortar in any direction. This is out to sea, and the other way back here is where the guns are, if you could see them. Now this pit was for a searchlight, which they could use to spot any planes up in the sky. So down these steps is just an ammunition store. Let's go and take a look. Bit wet, bit damp. Well, this is quite a distance away from the guns for obvious reasons. If this got hit by one of the naval ships, it would go up pretty damn easily. And if the fog wasn't here, you'd be able to see the battery there. Now just across from the ammunition store is a searchlight pit here, and there's also another searchlight pit on the other side over there. And as you can see, the farmer still ploughs these fields. I'll have to run my tractor into that one. And finally, here's the actual casemates with the guns in there. So there's one there, there's one in the distance there, and then there's two over there. So this one is pretty much intact. Let's have a look inside. This is a picture of the casemates after they were captured on D-Day, and again, if I overlay a picture of what it looks like today to what it looked like in 1944. This is one of 4 150 TK6-36 marine guns manufactured by Skoda. They had a range of about 20 kilometres. As you can see, this gun has received quite a lot of damage. This was probably done at 5:30 in the morning from the Royal Navy light cruiser HMS Ajax, which is famous for the part she played in the Battle of the River Plate, where she helped defeat the German battleship, the Graf Spee. The construction of these 4 casemates type M272 began in September 1943. The Germans used local craftsmen and local labour to build the battery, which was given the code name Widerstandsnest 48. The battery is located at the centre of the beaches of the Allied landings between the sectors of Omaha and Gold. This position favourable to the Germans worried the military chiefs, who decided to launch multiple and powerful air raids from May 1944 during the 2 weeks preceding D-Day. From March 28th to June the 3rd, the batteries received not less than 1,500 bombs. Destruction, though, remained limited. However, apart from one of the M272 casemates, whose concrete was sabotaged by the French during construction. Now you can see this casemate is really badly destroyed. You can see the gun is actually in bits. And there's even bits of the gun lying around here. So, was the Navy in World War II really good at shooting? Or was this blown up by something else? Well, the Navy, even though they did hit the guns and the batteries, did not do all this devastation here. This was actually done by a British anti-aircraft gun. So there was an airstrip around here for Spitfires, and to protect the airstrip after they'd taken the guns, they decided to put an anti-aircraft gun on top here and then use the casemate for the ammunition store. But what happened was, so they say, a very stupid British squaddy discarded a cigarette badly, and it hit the ammunition store and it blew this casemate to smithereens. So it wasn't the Navy did this, it was the British Army. And if you look inside, you can actually see all this devastation, and you can see by the damage that it's actually blown from inside out rather than outside in, like it would have done if the naval guns had done all this damage. It's even damaged the flooring as well as the ceiling. Look at that hole. My word, it would have been a big bang.